vor dem Rockcafé, um uns Wasteland 2 anzugucken.
Shadows on a scorched horizon, like a wall withstand. Arizona roaring, rising from the scalded sand. The cries of a dead world, calling out in pain. Red skies on the desert, all the blood in a ranger's veins.
I'm going to show you like a very scenario for which that this could take you 5 minutes or 2 hours to get through this area, all depending on the choices you make.
Signal, gonna lead to wind, iron in my blister.
This is the way we want to play it. I'm going to say bring it on. So now we're in a pretty serious combat, and so oh jeez. Wow, they got right up, they got the jump on me. I normally would have been a little more tactical when I jumped into this.
Scorpion tales and softball blues. Prophet of doom, this spread bad news. Scorpion tales and softball blues. Prophet of doom, this spread bad news.
We make a real point that every single one of these skills is useful all the way to the end of the game, and every single one of them has a payoff. So it's not that you're going to just choose perception only to find out it was worthless at the end of the game.
Well, I've been denied the ability to go back for so long. I mean, I've been trying persistently for almost 20 years to get it made. So of course I did the first Wasteland back in 1988, which journalists like to always remind me how young they were, because I was 4, right?
Yeah.
And but I couldn't get the rights back to it, and I tried year after year, and because I couldn't, that's why I ended up putting Fallout out in the mid-90s. And so then I left Interplay, and Fallout was sold to Bethesda, but I'd always wanted to do a Wasteland sequel, and I think that for this type of game, there's always been an audience that's been dying to play a deep tactical role-playing game. And before, when I went the publisher route, they decided that people didn't want those kinds of things, but I knew that people wanted it. And so, of course, when I took it to Kickstarter, we had 60,000 people that signed up and agreed. So I think it sort of shows that there's a real desire for this particular type of game, which fortunately I love to make, and I've been doing for a long time. I think crowdfunding is especially good for someone like me who's been doing it for a long time. I think it can be very dangerous for someone who's never made a game before. Probably not the best place to do your very first one, but once you have know how it's done, it's wonderful, because it's the complete opposite of generally how it works with a publisher. I say generally, right? But with crowdfunding, it's all about trust, 100%, which is they give you the money up front, it goes in your bank account. We raised $3 million, and they said, we believe you, Brian, please don't mess it up. From a publisher perspective, it's a long contract with a whole list of horrible things that go wrong if you are late, and you can get sued or lose your company or lose the ability to develop the game. Anyway, there's all these things, so they're just polar opposites, and why it's positive for a creative type like me is that I get to spend 100% of my energy working on the game, whereas under a publisher contract, everything's on milestones you need to achieve in order to get paid. So you could spend a third of your time just trying to get paid, basically trying to prove you know what you're doing. So having that freedom, for me, makes a better game. Oh, that was the old Star Trek. Star Trek was a yes, Starfleet Academy. The Star Trek stuff was great. It was amazing that when our Star Trek game was called the 25th anniversary, and that was back then. That's how old it was now. And when we did Star Trek, it was old in the tooth when we did it, and I think the new series was just coming out, and so that was considered highly risky when we did it. And of course, the Star Trek stuff was a big success for us. But I have ideas for other things I'd like to do. I mean, there's no lack of ideas, I can tell you that. But I'll tell you the best part is that because we're crowdfunding and we're already working on Torment, my team is rolling onto it, and because much of the game was financed through Kickstarter, not all of it, but a lot of it, and our overhead isn't that big, that I don't have this pressure to hurry up and do Wasteland 3, right? Because in a lot of cases, because of a publisher or because of financing, they need to hurry up and do the next one. And I think that great things don't happen when you're rushed. You need a time to gestate and think about it and be creative and do the best stuff. So I'm lucky that we don't have to rush to do something. Well, let's just say that's the most popular question I get. I mean, it's one that I'll say this, right? So we did a different kind of Bardstow game back in 2005 for a couple different reasons. One was that I wasn't going to get it financed unless it was on console. It was a little bit differently. And we were kind of in a funny mood, right? We decided to make fun of role-playing games just for a moment and have a good time with it. So we had the protagonist play the game like he had played too many role-playing games. It was quite funny, right? But it really wasn't people what they were expecting. So I will say that if I were to go back and revisit a Bardstow, it would be a proper sequel and not some kind of weird quirky thing that we did last time.
Okay.
Although what's kind of funny about that is that, and I understood why people were confused, right? But there's a whole new generation of people that only know that one because we put it out on iOS and Android, and it's been a huge success, and it has the review rating is almost a 5-star rated game on both formats. There's a whole new group of people going, no, do a sequel to the comedy, don't do the other one. So it's kind of funny. The Kickstarter in general and crowdfunding, don't just look at Kickstarter, of course, there's a lot of crowdfunding, it's just going like this. I mean, last I saw, Kickstarter was doing $1.3 million a day on projects. So I don't think it's going away. I just don't see that as a sign. And because it's almost like there's a group of people that, like you say, bring up, like there's all these ones, that big ones that blew up and they lost money, and are people disappointed. But it seems like there's two crowds of people. There's the people that like to support and get behind Kickstarter projects. Well, unless 90% of them are blowing up, you kind of accept that a few are going to go sideways, right? It's not a big deal as long as the percentage is reasonable, and it's not unreasonable. Then there's the other group that aren't going to support it no matter what, right? So there, I remember when Tim Schafer's project, right, we're only going to be able to do half now and half later. But what was ironic was the people that were the most upset were not the backers. Yeah. They were the people that didn't even give the money. So it's just there's just two different camps of people. So I mean, I backed well over 100 projects, and some of them the people just disappeared. You never heard a word. But that doesn't dissuade me from some new person who's coming on the scene, and I like what I'm seeing, and they seem like they're passionate and they're going to give it a try. I mean, I don't feel like it's not like they're trying to scam me, and then I'll continue supporting it. I think there's always a project that someone will support, because I have people that are outside my world that they think it's crazy, right? Because they say, they just gave you the money, right? Right? They say, do you have to pay it back? Well, no. How much percentage of your company you get? None. And so they can't get their head around it.
I know this, Steve.
Right, yeah. So I said, let me give it to you this way. I go, imagine there was some band that you grew up with a kid and you loved their music. You just loved it. And they were going to get back together and make another album. Yeah. Would you pay them $10 to do it? You'd probably do it. Yeah. So I think we all have our thing. Besides my own, right? Yeah, besides my own, okay. Well, let's see. Well, first of all, my current strange addiction is Hearthstone. I put way too many hours into that, and they have a bunch of expansion packs coming, and so I'm a real sucker for that product. I really enjoy it. I'm looking forward to my friends at Obsidian. They're doing Pillars of Eternity, and I think that's going to be great. And you know, and by the one aside, which is nice about crowdfunding and what it's done, is it's made all of us in the development community tighter than ever. We talk all the time, we share. I mean, before Obsidian did their thing, they asked me what did I learn from my Kickstarter. I shared about the video and everything else. So when Larry and when they put out Divinity, we did Kickstarter updates to our Torment and our Wasteland crowd, going, hey, this is really great, you should go check it out, right? So we all work with each other in that way. So we just don't see, 1 + 1 = 3 for us. So anyway, so I think Pillars of Eternity I'm excited about. What other? Well, I think the new Witcher product looks fantastic too. I mean, that just looks fantastic.
We all agreed on that.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be pretty special. There's another Kickstarter project called Kingdom Come, which that looks quite good. Also, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what they're up to. So those are a few. Well, I just think that it's just kind of amazing to be here after 20 years of trying to get this game made, and it's nice that like I said, there's a personal pressure that is just intense, right? With all those people giving you money, and then you have my fellow developers saying, Brian, please don't mess this up. We want to do a Kickstarter, and so it's been great that. Our backers are playing the game now and they like it and they're having a great time with it, so that's like a huge relief. And I only have the comfort because normally, like in the old days when I'd make a game, that you would just sort of work in a hole, right, and then you'd put it out there and keep your fingers crossed, right? Like Fallout, you had your own QA department, but you didn't have the work, you didn't have them looking at it. This, I would be, and by the way, I'd be terrified if that's the way I was doing it now, but because I've been having this thing out since last December, beating on it and criticizing and trying this and trying to break it. So now we've been road testing this thing for 8-9 months. So the final product that ships is going to be super robust and solid. So I love this whole process. I can't imagine making a game any other way, and so I just feel very fortunate.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Very good. Very good. Excellent.